I'm alive. Welcome back for another stream, everyone. We are live for the Gameweek 33 deadline. How's everyone doing? Thank you, Emil, for the reminder. He says, remember the mic check. I've tweaked the setup here for this stream, so if all goes to plan, the cable cannot be knocked out, even if Teddy joins the stream, which he often likes to. He's just literally run over and hid under my duvet. I don't think he's quite woken up yet, so we might see him a bit later. Thank you everyone for tuning into this deadline stream. How are we doing? We had a good week. Looking forward to the weekend. Double game week. Looking forward to this one. My free hit is active, so this is my draft on screen as you see it now. I've been endlessly tinkering with this draft, and this is how I've ended up. And yeah, I've ended up with 8 out of 11 double game weekers. There are a few things that I'm relying on. Kane left the draft, so need Kane to be quiet ideally, or for the people I brought in to at least match him or outscore him. Relying on Man United doing well against Norwich as well. I'm doubled up with Fernandes and Sancho, so we'll see. Anyway, get your questions in the chat. I'll do my best to answer as many as I can throughout this stream. Hershey Mesto says Sancho or Rashford. I think it'd have to be Sancho. He looks the likeliest to start both games, and I would say he does, but Rashford really hard to see him starting both games. He could do well, but you know, they could line up with Elanga and Sancho, for example. Andrea says no Tellez. Yeah, Tellez left the draft from a defensive perspective. You know, totally reliant on a clean sheet in that first game. I don't think Man United have kept a clean sheet for something like 6 weeks. So yeah, in the end, he left the draft. Gabriel's come in. I feel like Gabriel could keep a clean sheet. Most likely Southampton or the either 2 games. Maybe he gets something in against Chelsea, but I feel like he's got a lot more goal threat as well. Morning, James. How you doing, mate? Welcome to the stream, everyone. As always, tag me on a photo on Twitter, wherever you're watching from around the world, and I'll retweet it. Great to have so many here already tuned into this deadline stream. Jack, thanks for the donation. He says, would you captain Salah, Kane, Barnes, Saka, or Broja? So before I was on the free hit, I had the armband on Salah. So I think Salah out of all of those, but this game week captaincy is honestly totally up in the air. There's so many good candidates. It's one of those weeks where I think you can trust your gut and you can't go wrong. You know, if you do pick a captain and they don't return, then at the end of the day, they're all on par, in my opinion. I think you can make the case for Kane, you can make the case for Son, Saka, maybe Maddison if you had him, probably not Barnes. But I think Salah would be my pick out of those. We'll have a look at the captain poll results later on this stream. Jack says, will Lacazette play? We don't know, but let's do the news roundup because Lacazette is part of that. We'll start with Man City though, and those that watched the Champions League probably saw De Bruyne and Walker went off with injuries, and yesterday they didn't train. So whether they'll be back for the FA Cup against Liverpool this weekend, we'll have to see. But yeah, there's a chance of them missing the next game. I think Walker's was potentially more serious than KDB's. Perhaps good news for Cancelo owners as he looks even more nailed. Some Watford news. Cucho Hernandez may not feature again this season. Picked up a hamstring injury. A shame that one because there's so few budget forward options and he was one of them, but now we're down to even less among the budget forwards, and I know people who are bench boosting in 36 are looking for a budget forward. But yeah, on Lacazette, no Lacazette in training. Again, this was tweeted yesterday. He wasn't at London Colney at all, but apparently been suffering with illness. And Charles Watts says, looks like Arteta will be forced into another change tomorrow, which is now today. So yeah, I wonder how they'll line up, whether it's Nketiah up top or Martinelli up top. I guess it might be Nketiah. And the big news this week was Sean Dyche sacked after 10 years at Burnley. What do you guys think of this? This totally took me by surprise, I have to say. And yeah, I wonder what effect it'll have on the Burnley players. 10 years at the club. Seems like a very, very odd time to sack Dyche. I think perhaps he fell out with the board or something, because it just seems like the totally wrong time. And yeah, reportedly the under-23s coach and Ben Mee have been asked to take over management. Crazy. Morning, Jerry. How you doing, mate? Joel says Ronaldo versus Fernandes. I'm personally in the Fernandes camp, which is why I've got him, but I think Ronaldo's a very, very good pick as well. I couldn't fit Ronaldo into this draft without sacrificing Son or Salah, but I felt like I wanted to have both. Chuck your message in chat, Andreas, and I'll do my best. But yeah, for the members, ideally put your team in the lounge before the deadline streams, and I can give it a bit more thought into what advice I give. Jack says, would you take a -4 for Wood? Davies would be benched. I don't think I would do it for a -4. No, I think I would just start Davies. I think that's what I would do there. Hard to say with confidence that Wood outscores Davies by 4, you know what I mean? So I think I wouldn't take that -4 personally. Thanks everyone that's tuned into this deadline so far. We've got 860 tuned in already. Do hit like on the stream if you enjoy it and the content that I prepare for it. We've got loads to go through as we answer questions. We've got the Kings of the Gameweek scout selection. I'll have a look at the most transfer players, captain poll results. There's some double Gameweek news from this week which we'll discuss. The long game says Fernandes or Salah. If that's for captaincy, it has to be Fernandes. Yeah, I think it has to be Fernandes because he's got a double game week. Decent looking Norwich fixture today. He's my captain. Strawberry says, which forward to go for the rest of the season? Yeah, this season it's the toughest one I can ever remember, at least in recent memory, for forwards, because there's so few options. Which is why in my main team, my non-free hit team, I've got Kane, because my thinking of Kane was he takes up one of those valuable forward spots where there's so few forwards, so that's why I went for Kane. As it happens, it's a coin toss between him and Son, and I landed on the wrong side of that, and Son's done better, so well played if you had Son over Kane, but I like Kane still, because he does take up a forward spot where there's so few forwards. You know, Adams, maybe you could consider him. He's got the double now, and then 3 decent fixtures after this double now, but he doesn't double in 36 or 37. Joe Page says Kane or Ronaldo on a free hit. Ronaldo's got higher predicted points. We will have a look at the predicted points. So if you want to go purely for predicted points, then Ronaldo. The difficult part is getting the balance right on a free hit, because you could make the case for having a few single game makers sprinkled in, like I have. I've got Son and Salah, who are obviously very highly owned. So if you get rid of all of the highly owned players for players like Ronaldo, it does leave you a little bit exposed. So it's just getting that balance right, in my opinion. John says, hi mate, bench one of James, Rudiger, Laporte or White. Rudiger, I don't think I would double up Chelsea. So I think I'll start James, Laporte and White, Rudiger bench. Chaotic says, will Maddison play? If I was to take a total stab, I would say benched for the Newcastle game and starts the second game. But it doesn't necessarily make him a bad pick. I think he's still a very decent pick, even if he is benched for one. You know, Maddison over 120 minutes, he's still very capable of doing something. So, yeah, that would be my guess, but he's still a reasonable long-term pick. They do have another 2 doubles to come in 36 and 37. Okay, I'll have a look, Andreas, bear with me. I don't normally do Discord, rate my teams on the stream. Bear with me. I've actually got Discord closed. I normally do the old at everyone ping, and then I close it off until I'm back after the stream. What's your Discord username, Andreas? Are you the most recent one? That must be you. Let's take a look. So what was your question? Were you just wondering what to do this week? Brownhill captain. Yeah, I love the Brownhill captaincy, and what can go wrong there? So you've got Digne. It could be a problem, but who would you get rid of him for? Maybe Shah, and then bench Brownhill. I think you'd have to bench Brownhill and bring in someone for Digne. Digne's likely out for the season, so I'd be tempted to sell Digne for Shah. He's the cheapest of the Newcastle defenders. Maybe an Arsenal defender, but the double up's a bit risky, and then I'd bench Brownhill. I hate to say, but I think I'd bench Brownhill. So let's take a look at the Kings of the Game Week, and this is how it looks after Game Week 32. It was Son who joined the Kings again for the second time. Who do you think is going to join the Kings this Game Week? It was 21 points for Son, so those who went for Son over Kane were absolutely laughing in Game Week 32, so we'll have to see how Game Week 33 plays out. Mickey says Ward-Prowse or Saka. I think Saka just about edges it there, but there's not much between them. Battle, how you doing, mate? Tony says, are you using your last free hit? What other chips left? Yeah, I'm using my last free hit. I actually added a slide, bottom right of the stream, you know, where it rotates graphics, and that has my chips remaining. And after this, I'll just have my triple captain left. So the plan is to triple captain Salah in Gameweek 36. Mr. Gamer says, about Weghorst Hall. Imagine now, after all this, you know, people have been getting rid of him. I got rid of him on my free hit draft, obviously. A lot of people, despite the double, are selling Weghorst, so it'd be absolute troll if he goes and gets something in this double now. Crypto says, Shah captain any good? I don't think I'd go there for captaincy. I think there's better options. Oh, sorry, Andres. So you're looking to do Dennis to Wood and bench Weghorst. Yeah, but then you start in Brownhill. I don't mind Dennis to Wood at all, but I don't think I would be starting Brownhill. And I don't think I would take the -4 to get rid of Lamptey either. I think I would just leave it. Yeah, the Wood move's good as well. It would be either Shah or Wood. I like the Wood move. It's just your forwards don't look great going forward. But yeah, I don't mind that. So Wood in for Dennis and then bench Brownhill. I think that's what I would do. Samraf says start Amati, and so does Ollie. I think Amati starts one of the two, so I wouldn't start him. You're just basically counting on a clean sheet completely from one game, in my opinion. I don't think Amati starts both games, so no, I wouldn't. Let's have a look at the scout selection then, see who they're suggesting for this game week. Their team is as follows. They've got Schmeichel in goal. Back three is Cancelo, Gabriel and Shah. Midfield 5, they've got Bruno captain, Son, Maddison Vice, Saka, Ward-Prowse, and then a front two of Kane and Wood. What do we think of the draft? I quite like this draft, I'll be honest. A lot of people have actually doubled up in Newcastle defence. We've seen a lot of teams with Shah and Dubravka or Shah and Target, Burns in quite a few drafts. I'm doubled up with Dubravka and Target myself. Matteo says Shah in for a hit with Kulu on the bench. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's worth a hit. I don't think so. I don't think I'd do it, mate. Darshan says Trent over Cancelo. Are you asking me why I went for Trent over Cancelo? Or are you asking which one to go for? I prefer Trent personally. Obviously, he's the highest scoring defender this season. In a league of his own, in terms of expected goal involvement among defenders. So, yeah, I think Trent over Cancelo. Man United are going to be without Luke Shaw in left back. Tellez filling in. Perhaps they'll be a bit more vulnerable defensively, which could play into both Trent and Salah's advantage. Thanks for the donation, A-Hawks. Appreciate that. Max says Saka, Salah or De Gea captain. Definitely between the first two, Max. I definitely wouldn't be captain in De Gea. So it's between Saka and Salah. I'd probably go Salah personally. But there's not much in it. Again, this is one of those weeks where it's so close for predicted points that I think you go with your gut. There's no clear standout captain, if that makes sense. I don't think you can put the armband on a player this week and say, yeah, 100% confident with that. So I think I'd go Salah. Before I had the free hit active, I had the armband on Salah, and I owned both Saka and Salah. Hopefully that helps. Pranesh says, hey Oscar, who do I bring in for Rafinha, Zaha or Ward-Prowse? Probably Ward-Prowse because he's got the double, and then you've got the option to move him on for Zaha. So yeah, I think Ward-Prowse between those two. Finn says, Captain Ronaldo or Fernandes? So let's have a look at the predicted points. These are from FPL Review. And they have got Ronaldo top with 9.5 predicted points. So if you want to go purely off predicted points, it's Ronaldo. I still personally think Bruno is a slightly better captain. Can we trust Ronaldo to start both? Or is there a chance of him being benched? Perhaps for the Liverpool game. What do you guys think? Does Ronaldo start both games? Something we will come on to in a bit is there is a potential double Gameweek 34 for Man United as well. And again, you have to ask the question, will he start all 4 games, in 2 doubles, back-to-back doubles? You imagine he probably does start Liverpool, but I think there's a chance that he doesn't. Devil says, why did you take out Tellez? When I was thinking about it, you're really counting on the Norwich game completely, because I don't give Man United any chance of keeping a clean sheet against Liverpool, personally. So you're completely counting on that Norwich game. Whereas I think with Gabriel, who I have instead, I think there's a chance of a clean sheet against Southampton. A very outside chance against Chelsea, but he definitely has a chance of an attacking return in both. He has a goal in him. So that's why. There wasn't much in it, but that was the reasoning. Andreas says, bro, they forgot to put Brownhill on the chart. Are you joking? They missed Brownhill? I can't believe that. Yeah. But we can't trust the reliability of this data. No, Brownhill. Thank you everyone who has tuned in so far. I hope you're enjoying the deadline stream. Do hit like on it if you are, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I post content every week, including who to buy, my team selection, and all sorts. Will the Peg says, start Foden or Lacazette. Based on what we've read this week about Lacazette, I would say Foden. It's unclear if Lacazette will make the squad or not. And I'm not sure if we'll get any news pre-deadline on that or not. Obviously, I'll keep an eye out for any early news or leaks, but yeah, I'm not sure what the likelihood is that we get any news on Lacazette. What we do know is that he wasn't in training the last few days in a row, which is worrying for Lacazette owners. Certainly one to avoid on a free hit, but it also becomes a benching headache, and I think I would start Foden. Harry Holmes says, is Salah essential? He's not essential, but I think he's one that's going to stay in my team for the remainder of the season. We know what he's capable of. I know his numbers have dropped off recently compared to the first half of the season, but he does have the double in 36, and he's incredibly highly owned, so it's very risky to go without him. So I'm more than happy to have Salah. I think he's not quite essential, but I think you should really strongly consider having him, and going without him is very, very brave. That isn't to say it's not a viable way to approach the tail end of the season. We said a few weeks ago you could go KDB instead of Salah, and in those who did that a few game weeks back are points up on the Salah owners, because KDB's obviously been doing better. Ahawk says, Wood or Iheanacho for a lack of replacement long term? I would say neither are long term replacements. Iheanacho, he's a rotation risk, and obviously Leicester have got European games sandwiched around their upcoming game weeks. I think either side of Game Week 35 they've got the semi-finals, so it's very, very hard to predict how Leicester are going to line up in the coming weeks. And the problem with Wood, of course, is he has the double now, good looking double, but then he has, after Norwich, he has Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal, 3 tough fixtures, so neither of them are long-term picks basically. But if you can navigate around Wood's fixtures turning, then I think Wood's a great option. Harry asks, what about on a free hit, is Salah essential? No, not essential on a free hit. Free hits are those chips where you can afford to take a few one-week punts. In my case, I've got a few one-week punts sprinkled in here. I would never normally be bringing in Bruno and Sancho if I wasn't free hitting this week. So, yeah, the free hit's an opportunity to take a few punts, and there's nothing wrong with getting rid of Salah to have someone like Bruno on a free hit, who you might not normally have. Darshan says, Kane and Moore Prowse over Son and Adams, as per the predicted points. Yeah, I was looking at those combinations, and there's not much to separate them again, so it's one of those where you could just go with your gut. What I will say is Son's been in better form, and I read an interesting thread on Twitter from Baker, who has his own podcast, and he fancied the way Brighton's set up to suit Son a bit more. And of course you do save money going with the Son route, so yeah, I'd say Son. Linga says, how about Ivan Toney? Yeah, Tony's an interesting one. He's actually been doing well recently. He's actually now one of the top scoring forwards this season. Problem is they have no doubles, so it's difficult to justify them. But we've seen time and time again, right, where teams have a double game week, like Wood, Adams, and we jump on them, and we completely overlook these single game week players who actually quietly tick along and, you know, end up going toe to toe with how this double game weeks did over the span of a few game weeks. And of course, FPL is not played just in 1 week, so it's something we have to consider. And I think Tony's a very genuine option. Steve asks, Salah or Son on a free hit, what's your gut say? My gut says Salah. What do you guys think in the chat, Son or Salah? My gut says Salah. There's not much in it. What I will say is in the reverse fixture, Salah did get the joint highest score of this season. 24 points against Man United back in Game Week 9. Now, I'm not for a second saying we'll see anything close to that again this game week, but shows what he's capable of against Man United. And yeah, there's not much in it, but I'd say Salah just about. Sri reckons Son. Glyphs reckons Son. Looks like chat might disagree with that one. Chat reckons Son over Salah. I think Salah, but yeah, they're very close, I have to say. Andreas reckons Salah. Adrian reckons Salah. Michael, thanks for the donation. He says, hi Oscar, I've gone for Ronaldo. CR9. Who's CR9? CR9. Is that meant to be Ronaldo, Mike? You've gone a CR9 over Trent in a free hit. Who's CR9? Over Trent in a free hit. You still have Cancelo, Shaw and Bednarek. Or would you go back to Trent and play 4 at the back? Who's CR9? Let me know in the chat. Because if it's Ronaldo, I don't understand you've got a Ronaldo over Trent. You still have Cancelo, Shaw and Bednarek. In a free hit, I don't think I'd have Bednarek. Personally, I'd rather have Target doubled up with Shah than Bednarek. I think. CR9. Checking if anyone in chat knows who that is. Is that just a typo, Michael? So you've gone for Ronaldo over Trent in a free hit. You have Cancelo, Shah and Bednarek, or would you go back to Trent and play 4 at the back? I think 3 at the back's the way to go on a free hit with 5 midfielders and then 2 forwards. Maybe you could go 4-5-1, but I think 3-5-2. I mean, this is my free hit draft, and this is personally the one that I think is the best. So hopefully you can take some inspiration from that. I assume you meant CR7, the real Ronaldo. The real Ronaldo is in FPL. No, I'm confused by the question a bit. Obviously, Ronaldo is a great option over Trent, if that's what you mean. They're totally different players to have in a free hit draft. But Ronaldo, we saw he's top for predicted points on FPL review. Trent obviously nowhere near the top on predicted points. So I would say, yeah, definitely have Ronaldo. And this is my free hit draft, like I said. So maybe you can take some inspiration from that. Bednarek, I would get rid for Target personally. John says, me again, captain Son, Kane, Salah or Saka. I hate captaincy this week, I'll be honest. We'll have a look at the captain poll results in a second to see who you've all gone for. It's so divided this week that you could almost roll the dice and just back whatever it lands on. I think Salah just about edges it out of those 4, but they're all great options, to be honest. One thing I did think about Brighton is that they rarely get completely rolled over. I think this season Brighton have only conceded more than 2 once, or maybe twice. So they rarely get destroyed. So yeah, will Son haul? Will Kane haul? Maybe, maybe not. Salah is always capable of a haul. We saw he did against Man United in the reverse fixture early in the season. He'll be up against Tellez down Man United's left flank, and Shaw's absence could be something they take advantage of. Mikhail says, start Anderson, Crystal Palace, free hit to free up cash for a midfielder. If you're on a free hit, then surely there's another defender you could get. Like Ben White's a similar price point. I definitely wouldn't get a single game week budget defender on a free hit. I'll tell you that for nothing. Anderson, I think I'd avoid. if you're on a free hit, I think you just find a budget defender to chuck in there, like Shah, Target, Ben White, and there's loads of options you could have over Anderson, who have 2 fixtures and obviously therefore high predicted points. So that's what I would do if you're looking to free up cash. I think I'm caught up on messages. Am I? No. Where do we get to? Omcast says Maddison or Son on a free here. Other mids, same as yours. Maddison or Son? I think Son. I personally just think Maddison's going to be benched for one of their 2 games, so therefore I would say Son just about edges it. Well, who would you back more in a nutshell? Let's say Maddison is benched. Maddison over 120 minutes or Son over 90. Theoretically, it may not play out exactly like that, but I think you'd say Son over 90 over Maddison in 120, right? That's how I look at that one. Sam Martin's well worth a follow on Twitter. He's great for Leicester news and predictions, and he leaks lineups. He doesn't know the lineup this early because it's too early, but he predicts Maddison to be benched for the first game. Abdullah says Adams or Weghorst. Adams. Leskip says who to bring in, Livramento or White for long term. White has a double in 36. Russell says free hit active. Last choice. Trent and Son or Cancelo and Salah? Difficult one that. Oh, what a question. Trent or Son or Cancelo and Salah? I think Cancelo and Salah just about edges that one. But I'm quite bullish on Salah this week, whereas I think a lot of people will prefer Son, which is totally understandable based on the recent form of Son. I think Cancelo, Salah. Prajivam, thank you for the donation. He says, start 1, James or Kulusevski. I think Kulusevski just about. Again, they're about an even on predicted points, but I'd say Kulu. Chelsea have the FA Cup this weekend before the Arsenal game, so we don't know how Chelsea will line up until after the deadline. If James starts that game this weekend, it's going to be one of those where you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, because then James could be benched for Arsenal. Realistically, I think he'll be benched for Palace and starts Arsenal, but I'd go Kulu. Jack, thanks for renewing the membership for 4 months. If anyone's interested in becoming a member, you get early access to my videos, and there's a private channel on the Discord server where I give team feedback throughout the month for every game week. And he asked, Cancelo for Trent and Martinelli. Hang on, Cancelo or Trent and Martinelli for Saka on a free hit. Do you mean Trent and Martinelli? Surely Trent and Martinelli and Cancelo and Saka are about the same price. I think Saka and Cancelo, if that's what you're asking. Trent and Martinelli, it's a really hard one. Maybe there's a small chance of Martinelli getting benched for 1, which is why I ended up switching back to Saka. But in my case, I couldn't afford any bench players, so I didn't like that risk with having both Martinelli and Cancelo in my case, 2 rotation risks. Realistically, they're probably not going to be rotated, but I think I'd go Cancelo and Saka. Pingu, thanks for the donation. He says, bench 2, Brownhill, Weghorst, Mendy. Mendy? Who's Mendy? Chelsea's Mendy. Robertson. Leicester's Mendy? You've only listed 1 goalkeeper, so I'm trying to think what Mendy that is. I would bench Brownhill and I would bench probably Weghorst, to be honest. I don't know who Mendy is. If it's Leicester's Mendy, then bench Mendy. Brownhill or Mendy. I assume it's not Man City's Mendy. Chris says Cancelo for a -4, or go Laporte, or Shah for the double. Cancelo for a -4, or go Laporte or Shah. I don't think I'd take a -4 for any of those, but if I was taking a -4 for one of them, it would be Cancelo. He's the good long-term pick, so Cancelo for me. And obviously, as we saw, Walker out with an injury. Perhaps that means Cancelo's even more nailed. Cancelo will miss the first Champions League semi-final leg, so again, perhaps even more nailed in the league. So I'd say Cancelo out of all of those. And Anno, thanks for the donation as well. There's no message, but thank you, appreciate that. What else are we going to look at? We're going to look at the captain poll results. I'm going to chuck a link to the Discord in the description. If you're not a member, genuinely good FPL resource. There it is. Click that link and join the Discord. I'll be on there throughout this game week. We've got things like the price changes. Oh, I'm on the wrong tab. Sorry. There we go. You see that? Yeah, we've got the price changes, we've got the lineups, we've got live scores, we've got live points, bonus points, gaming stats, injury updates, top 10k stats, insider trading, deadline alerts, and all sorts. And let's have a look at the captain poll. Very, very divided this week. Kane's actually top now, 144 votes for Kane. Keep the votes coming in. Maddison's got 135, Fernandez has 67. Son has 78. Yeah, it's very, very divided this week. Saka's got 31. Which tells me it's one of those weeks, if you nail your captaincy, then you're going to fly up the ranks. Oh, I'm on the wrong tab. Sorry. Blame Andreas. I had Discord open, the actual application, rather than the browser tab. And that's because I was answering Andreas' question on the Discord. Apologies for that. Anyway, back to the stream. Keep the questions coming in. Barty says free hit 33 or free hit 34. No, I definitely wouldn't free hit 34. It's potentially a double for just 2 teams. In fact, I did have a graphic prepared for that because I wanted to talk about it. And this is the potential double game week 34 and potential double game week 35, depending on the FA Cup results this weekend. So this weekend, Chelsea play Crystal Palace. That game will be played tomorrow. If Chelsea beat Crystal Palace tomorrow, then Chelsea and Man United double in game week 34, and these will be the 2 fixtures. If Crystal Palace beat Chelsea, then Aston Villa and Crystal Palace double in 35 instead. That'd be a hell of a double for Aston Villa, I have to say. Norwich at home and Crystal Palace at home. Not a bad double for Palace either. But the bookies have Chelsea with about a 77% chance of progressing, so Chelsea massive favourites to progress and therefore big favourites for the double in 34. Chris says only Cancelo for a -4. Laporte or Sharp would be a free hit. So are you asking whether to take a -4 to free hit? That's a really hard one to answer, Chris, because it's difficult to say about seeing your whole team. I can't really say with certainty whether you should free hit or just take the -4. I do think Cancelo for a -4 is a very, very reasonable move this week. He looks a good season keeper. Obviously City are going to have a double in 36 or 37. Something to bear in mind. But on a free hit, Laporte and Shah are fine as well. I think Shah just edges it for me. He's got more predicted points. I think I'm caught up with chat. Keep the questions coming in. Thank you all for tuning in so far. We've got 1,471 tuned in. If you are enjoying this stream, do hit like on it. We'll try and get to 500 likes before the deadline. We've got 25 minutes to go. Oh, free transfer, Chris. Hang on, let me scroll back up. I think Laporte, personally. It's between Laporte and Cancelo from -4. Between those two, it's hard to say, Chris, whether you can see Cancelo outscoring Laporte by 4 for the tail end of the season. I would say he does, so therefore the -4 for the long term of the move, the longevity of the move. And Nano says who to play between Bowen and Roberts. Bowen. Roberts bench last game. Not sure whether he comes back into starting 11. Lowton started in Roberts' place, so I would say Bowen all day. Ayodeji says, why Target over Shah? There's not much between Target and Shah, to be honest with you, but Target takes corners, some set pieces. So I feel like he's slightly likelier to get an attack in return, whereas Shah, you're kind of counting on him nodding in a corner or something like that, perhaps. So I think Target edges it narrowly for that reason. Lucy says, how do I activate the free hit? So you basically make your transfers that you want to make, do them all at once, and then when you're pressing make transfers, you have a button that says play free hit. So make sure you click that, and then it will say, are you sure you want to free hit? And then just say yes again, and your free hit is active. Yeah, that reminder to everyone in chat actually, because I know some of you like to manipulate the prices by making your transfers and activating your free hit later. So if you're one of those smart asses that doesn't activate your free hit till the last minute, then reminder to activate your free hit. In fact, just on the subject of price changes, I tweeted something the other day. I'm interested to know what you guys think about this. Sorry, I think the stream cut out for a second there. My question was, would you guys be interested in knowing exactly when the prices change? So imagine if the FPL site had something like this, where it told you yes or no with absolute certainty if a player is rising tonight, you know, and perhaps a countdown like you can see up here that says, you know, in 5 hours, 43 minutes, the price changes happen. You know, Maddison and Son, they will go up. Would you guys like something as transparent as that? Or do you like the unpredictability of price changes and having to use the third-party sites? Jack, how you doing, mate? He says, in the free hit draft, would Cancelo instead of Trent, Martinelli instead of Saka, and Johnson instead of Cedric worth it? Leaves the bench very weak. No, I don't think so. I think it leaves the bench too weak. Don't think it's worth it. I think you have to be careful on a free hit not to go too all out with the starting 11, because if there's one upset, one player unexpectedly that misses out, and you've got no one to come off your bench, then you're in trouble and it's a wasted free hit. Chris says he would like that. Anonymous Banana, great username, says no, wouldn't like that. Kurt would like it. I think it's in FPL's interest as well, right? Because it keeps people on their website and it's more transparent. Because right now, price changes happen. You're like, what on earth? Like, no websites had them close to a rise. Abadi says, hi Oscar, solid draft. I can't afford Saka on the free hit as I own Sterling, Salah and Son alongside Bruno. Would you go for Martinelli or Cornet as a Saka replacement? It would be Martinelli for me. Yeah, Martinelli would be my Saka replacement. I wonder, with Lacazette potentially out, if we see Martinelli playing up top. Might not happen, it might be Nketiah, but I like the Martinelli pick on a free hit, and he was in a couple of my drafts. I ended up landing on Saka, but I like the Martinelli pick, so yeah, it'd be Martinelli over Cornet for me. I saw a FPL mate, he tweeted if this gets 10k likes, he'll captain Cornet, which happened, so yeah, he'll have captain Cornet. Imagine if that comes off. That's the sort of thing you need, right? Sometimes you just need that random punt or bit of luck to go in your favour to win the whole thing. Maybe he will if Cornet gets a hat-trick or something. Adam says Bruno or, I don't know how you say his surname, Guimaraes or Ward-Prowse, 5th player mid on a free hit. Ward-Prowse all day for me. Yeah, definitely Ward-Prowse. I saw Az has Bruno, Guimaraes, probably saying his name totally wrong, in his main team, which is an interesting pick. I think he's got like one goal since joining Newcastle, so not sure about that one. But it'd be Ward-Prowse for me all day. On a free hit, all day, definitely. So these are the points over the last 6 game weeks, and now it is Son who's scored the most over the last 6. Kane's narrowly behind, 65 points. Doherty has 56 points. Really annoying that he's picked up this season injury, because last game it got Tierney and I sold him for Doherty, who ended up getting injured for the season, so I've got that to deal with once I'm back off my free hit, heading into 34. He might actually survive in my team for a while, because I've got other fires to put out. But Tony's up there. We talked about Tony a bit. Everyone's overlooking him because we've got these double game weeks and whatnot. But Tony's been ticking along. You know, Ericsson signs for Brentford. Perhaps we didn't factor that in or consider what effect that could have on Tony's output. But no, he's been ticking along. Joint fourth top scoring player over the last 6 game weeks. And Shah is up there, just about in number 10. The double game week defender himself. I did have him in a few of my drafts. Basically, for me, it was Ramsdale and Shah, or Dubravka and Gabriel. Which one do you guys like more? Dubravka and Gabriel, or Ramsdale and Shah? Alex says, is Laka playing? We don't know. What we do know is he didn't train for the last few days in a row with a reported illness. So whether that means he's out for this weekend or not, we don't know. Doesn't sound promising is all I would say on that. Arvin says Barnes or Maddison. I think Maddison between the two, but Wouldn't surprise me if both are benched for one of the 2 games. So therefore, if their minutes are equal, you'd say Maddison, wouldn't you? Chaotic says start Robertson or Laporte. I would say Laporte. Eamon says Weghorst or Rudiger to start. I think Weghorst just about there. Sano prefers the Ramsdale-Shah combination. Rackspec says, do I keep De Bruyne in? Difficult one to answer. Based on what we know, which was that he didn't train yesterday, I would be tempted to sell. But this is all we know. That's the problem. There was a tweet yesterday. I don't know if anyone in chat knows more since his tweet yesterday, then let me know. But yeah, as of yesterday, he didn't train, De Bruyne. So I'd be tempted to get rid if I had him. Got about 15 minutes to the deadline. If you're enjoying the stream so far, please do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. 317 likes. We're trying to hit 500 before the deadline. If everyone in chat hit like right now, we'd smash it. We've got 1,300 watching right now. Do hit like on it if you are enjoying the stream. As always, once the stream finishes, I will have timestamps just in case anyone's watching on catch up. Shout out to you if you're listening to me right now on catch up. Appreciate you. Austin, thank you so much for becoming a member for 3 months as well. Appreciate that, mate. If anyone is interested in becoming a member, you get early access to my videos, and there's a private channel on the Discord server where I give team feedback. Soyam says, your Adams pick instead of Burn in the starting 11 burned me last time round. Yeah, fair enough. One thing I will say is that, as with anything, I don't have a crystal ball, so there could be quite a few picks here that don't come off, or this draft could do exceptionally well. So, yeah, if I knew exactly what was going to happen, I would still be first in the world, which I'm certainly not now. Ganja, thanks for the donation as well. There's no message, but thank you for that. Appreciate that. Who's everyone in chat going for captain? Let me know in the chat. Who's your armband on for this game week? It feels like the most divided game week all season. Does anyone else feel like that? Just checking for any early news or anything coming through. But I can't believe there's Dice Shakin and Ben Mee potentially managing the side. Crazy. Giacomo says, hi mate, Captain Saka, Woods, Salah, Kane or Barnes. If I had to pick between those 5, for me, it would be Salah. But yeah, it's really divided this week. I mean, look at the message coming through in chat and how divided it is for captaincy. So it's one of those weeks where you can afford to just trust your gut. But I think between those lot, I would say Salah. A lot of people going for Son, quite a few with Wood. Kane, quite a few Kane captainers. Ronaldo. A few Maddison captainers. A few Saka captainers. Bruno's in there. Martinelli. Salah captainers. Yeah, I mean, this is it's so divided this week. Which is exciting and scary, because if you nail it, there's a massive opportunity to fill up the ranks more than you normally would in a week where there's just 1 or 2 options. It's so divided this week. You know, when I did the Roundup video earlier this week, no player had more than 25% of the vote on the captain poll. And there's normally one player that dominates the poll, but that shows how spread it is this week. Ahmed says, start Mateta or Reece James. I think I'd start Mateta. If I knew that Reece James was going to start against Arsenal, I would say James, but it feels like a slight gamble that he does or doesn't. Niall, welcome to the stream. He says late in. He's got the captain on Kane this week. Trust I'm supporting Hearts in the semi-final. Didn't know Hearts were playing. Oh, they're playing Hibernian. Okay, fair enough. Didn't know that. Shrewd says, please, Oscar, respond. Why are you ignoring me? What was the question, Shrewd? I'm not... There's a lot of questions in the chat. I can't read them all, but I'll do my best, of course. Niall, thanks for the donation as well. Voji says, on a free hit, Saka or Maddison? Already have Martinelli. I think Saka, personally. Yeah, I think Saka would double up. But I think Saka and Maddison's even better if you can stretch to that. If not, I'd say Saka. Liverpool S says, why don't you have Tellers? I had him in a few of my drafts, but my thinking was you're totally reliant on a clean sheet against Norwich, and Man United have just been woeful defensively. I know it's Norwich, so you'd back them for a clean sheet, but it may not happen. And I don't give them a chance in hell against Liverpool, to be honest with you, so you're counting on everything in that first game. Whereas with Gabriel, I feel like there's a reasonable chance of a clean sheet against Southampton, maybe not. A very outside chance against Chelsea, but still possible, whereas with Man United I say it's not. And I say Gabriel has more attacking threat. You know, he's got a goal in him, whereas Tellers, he's got 2 assists this season. But yeah, there wasn't much in it, to be honest. There's so many players that are about on par on predicted points this week. Omcar says Son and James Ward-Prowse, or Maddison and Sancho, or Barnes and Sancho on a free hit. Son and Ward-Prowse, or Maddison and Sancho, or Barnes and Sancho. I think I like option 1 the most, Son and Ward-Prowse. But I think option 2 has probably got the highest predicted points of all of them, because they've got the double. If you want to back predicted points purely, but I think Son's an excellent option, even though he's got the single, which is why he's in my free hit draft. So I think the order you've listed them in is the order of preference I would go with as well. WT, thanks for renewing the membership for 2 months as well. Appreciate that. He says, Maddison or Tony on a free hit? Maddison all day. I think with those sorts of calls, you just got to back the double Gameweek player. I don't think it's worth getting budget single Gameweek players. On a free hit, I think you consider a single Gameweek player if they're a premium with the capability to still do very well, like Salah, Son, Kane. But Tony, no, I don't think so personally. I think you just have to back the double Gameweek player Maddison in that case. Joe says, who is Teddy captaining? Teddy's got the armband on Shah, but he loves a differential captain. Whole Superstar says Kane or Ronaldo. So this week, Ronaldo is obviously higher on predicted points, which is something I tend to pay a fair bit of attention to, because it's a fairly reliable way of playing the game based on decisions on predicted points and obviously other factors. But Ronaldo's top, so in isolation, Ronaldo all day over Kane. But just as a 1 week punt, I wouldn't look to sell Kane for Ronaldo, I don't think. I think long term, that's not a great move. Owenson says, Captain Maddison. My concern with Maddison is that he could be benched for one of the 2 games. I'm trying to find a tweet from Sam Martin. I'll see if I can pull it up. He tends to leak the Leicester lineups when he gets them, and he did actually put together a predicted lineup for Leicester's first game, which is against Newcastle. And he said, I've taken a bit of a guess at how we'll set up on Sunday, and this is a guess, just to caveat that. But he's got Barnes starting, he doesn't have Maddison starting. So perhaps Maddison's benched for the first game, and then he starts the second of Leicester's double. Wouldn't be at all surprising to see a rotated Leicester side. And I imagine they're going to completely focus on the Europa Conference League for the remainder of what remains of this season, because it's their route to Europa League football still. But they do have a very, very busy schedule. I'll just pull up Leicester's schedule. And this is something to also consider, because I'm less keen on the idea of bringing in Leicester players despite their double in 36 and 37. Because look, they play the double and then they've got Villa on the Saturday, then they play midweek, Saturday again, midweek, and then Everton, and then midweek, Watford, midweek. It's just non-stop football for the entire remainder of the season. So how much can we trust players like Barnes and Maddison to continue starting every week? Maddison's probably a bit more reliable, but it is a problem, and Barnes didn't play well on Thursday night in the Europa Conference League, and he was hooked at half-time for Lookman, who did do a bit better when he came on in Barnes' place. And Perez also did fairly well off the bench, so yeah, I'm not so sure. I'm actually considering selling Barnes in 34 for Mason Mount if Chelsea double. SH2345 says Ward-Prowse or Maddison. I actually think Ward-Prowse there. Noctambuli says Captain Salah or Tony. Salah. MC Anthony says Ben White or Reece James to start. Ben White. Ratchet says Barnes or Maddison. Maddison. Harry says start Adams or Ward-Prowse. Is there no one else you can bench? If I had to bench one, it'd probably be Adams. Not ideal though. Dubravka or Schmeichel? That one's a coin flip as well, I'd say. But I think Dubravka just about. I mean, this season Leicester have been so poor defensively. They've barely kept clean sheets. They must have kept like 5 or 6 all season. Not that Newcastle have been much better. A slight improvement under Howe recently, but yeah, I wouldn't expect much from either keeper, to be honest with you. Chaos says 4.7 defender. Target, or if it's just for, you know, the next week or two, Shah. They're about the same price. On a free hit, Target. Otherwise, Shah. You know, I wouldn't say Target's worth the extra 0.3. Ivan says play Rudiger or Veggie. I think Veggie just about. Kingrave says Saka or Kulu for a -4. If it had to be one of those for a -4, Saka. Yeah, Saka, because he's got the double, and then they double again in 36, and it is a better double for Arsenal in 36 than Tottenham's. Arsenal have Leeds at home and Tottenham away, whereas Spurs have Liverpool away and Arsenal at home, so it's a tough double for Spurs in Gameweek 37. We've got about 5 minutes going to the deadline. Keep the questions coming. Appreciate you all tuning in so far. We're up to 452 likes. We're going to try and hit 500. So if you are enjoying the stream, please do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It's really appreciated. I'm thankful for everyone tuning into this stream. It's been another good stream. I've enjoyed it. Sammy says Trent or Reece. Trent. Clint says Captain Salah, Maddison or Son. I think Salah between those three. Maybe Maddison just about edges it. It's between those two though. Heshi says, why no Leicester? We were talking about it a bit just now. Basically, it's hard to say which Leicester players start both games, if any. Could see lots of rotation. It could be just a select few players like Schmeichel. You know, maybe a defender like Fofana or someone like that starts both. Maybe after Leicester playing on Thursday night, we see someone like Maddison bench for the first game and start the second. It's very hard to predict, but Sam Martin is the man for Leicester news and lineups and predictions and leaks, and his prediction had Maddison benched for the first of Leicester's double. That isn't to say that Maddison will do badly. You know, he could do well even with 30 minutes off the bench and a start in the second game, but for that reason I've ended up avoiding Leicester entirely. Joshua says Lacazette or Adams or Weghorst. Adams. Farhan says Captain Son or Saka. I think Saka just about, because he's got the double. Samir says Captain Saka, Salah or Kane. So between those three, I think Salah edges it and I'd go Salah. I think Salah does well against Man United personally, and that's why he was still one of the first names in my free hit draft. Niall says, what's your goal rank for the end of the season? My season goals are always top 10k, so I'm sticking with that. Obviously what happened is I've had a crazy season where I did spend some time at first, and then over the last 5 or 6 weeks I used no chips. My rank has taken an absolute beating because I've used no chips while there's been loads of wildcard and free hits and triple captains active, all sorts. But also some things have gone against me. You know, I went for Kane over Son, and as it's played out, Son was the bet between the two. Kane or Son captain? I think Son. Fofana as a punt. Maybe on a free hit, but I don't think I would go there. I think there's better options on a free hit than Fofana. Black Lambo says Mo Salah best player in the world. First half of this season, I would totally agree. The first half of the season was actually just ridiculous. I mean, look at this run from Game Week 1 to Game Week 17. He blanked once in that entire run, and that was in Game Week 2 against Burnley. You know, he returned every Game Week from Game Week 1 to 17, so it's easy to forget how ridiculous Salah was the first half of this season. His actual returns have dropped off recently, but his underlying numbers haven't. He's still top in the league over the last 6 for expected goal involvement. So, yeah, Salah's a season keeper for me, and yeah, in the free hit draft. Oyoy says, will Jota play? We don't know. Hard to say how Liverpool line up. The difficulty this week is that there's the FA Cup this weekend, so Man City play against Liverpool and Chelsea play against Crystal Palace, and that's going to be after the FPL deadline, but before they play their league game. So we just have to hope that there's not going to be any upsets or injuries or anything in those games. In my case, I've just got a couple of players that feature. In fact, it's just Salah and Trent. Zero says Captain Salah or Sonny. I would go Salah. Just going to refresh this, make sure I've got everything locked in. Looks good. Final reminder to lock in your team. Captain, bench. Jack says Cancelo and Gabriel or Trent and White. Cancelo and Gabriel. I think I would go just about. No, Trent and White. Trent and White. You're asking too late, Jack. You can't ask that a minute before the deadline. I like to think these questions through before answering them. But yeah, Trent and White. So that's me. My free hit is active. The team's locked in. I'm not going to stick around for much longer today, but thank you so much everyone for tuning in to this deadline stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, please do consider liking it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Loads of content to come throughout this week. And I hope everyone enjoys the game week. I'm absolutely bursting for a piss, so that's me done. I'm not going to stick around any longer. I'm not going to bother finding a stream to raid. Or I might just piss my pants. Imagine that on a live stream. No one wants to see that. Mark says locked. Giacomo says locked. Jack says he went for Trent and White. Thank God. Oh, he did it just in time. Well played, Jack. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Final reminder to like it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I'll be on the Discord throughout the game week. I'll chuck a link in the chat one last time. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Focal out.